According to Lao Tzu, those who flow as life flows know they need no other force. Lao Tzu was an ancient Chinese philosopher and writer who is seen as the founder of Taoism. The Tao Te Ching, the most sacred writing in Taoism, is attributed to him as well. The ideology of Taoism advocates living in line with the Tao and leading a life of ease. The term Tao can mean path, method, principle, or way. Taoist philosophy is based on the idea that the Tao is a natural order or organizing principle of the universe, which can be understood by living in balance with the natural world. According to Taoism, life is like a river following its course, and the majority of us are clinging to the bank because we are frightened to let go and risk being swept downstream. Every one of us has to learn to let go at some point and have faith that the river will safely guide us. We now know how to go with the flow. After we become used to being in the river's flow, we can then start to gaze ahead and guide our path forward. Leading your life's path with the least amount of challenges is, then, what is meant by flow. It's about making deliberate choices about your future while letting life happen as it naturally unfolds. In this video, we will discuss 6 ways to be in flow with your life based on the wisdom of Lao Tzu. Lesson 1. Let go of your ego. According to Lao Tzu, names and ideas captivate the ego. However, names and ideas do nothing more than obscure your understanding of this great oneness. Taoism tells us that we are a part of a larger whole and that everything is interconnected. We are much more than what we do or our external appearance, and the only way we can have a happy life is to let go of the false identity that the ego has given us. We place ourselves in boxes when we link our identity with our professional work or job title. These boxes become our prisons as we constantly seek to live up to these identities. Labels, titles, and wealth are important, but if you obsess over them, you lose yourself in the process. We must realize that our identity is not defined by our name, our belongings, our work, or the things that make up our ego. The Tao says that what can be named is not the Tao. Even if that someone is you, the moment you give them a title, you lower your opinion of them to the expectations the label suggests. Taoism, on the other hand, encourages us to avoid becoming overly attached to the concepts or identities we develop because, when we become attached to something, we tend to hold on to it longer than is healthy, which causes us to move against the flow of our lives. For example, a lot of individuals spend their entire lives feeling proud of the position they occupy in their jobs. Even though they may have had one of the most prestigious and well-paying jobs in their company for many years, the day they were dismissed is when everything fell apart for them. This is the result of our inability to let go of our limited sense of who we are. Rather than considering the interconnectedness of all things and our place in a larger scheme of things, we end up limiting ourselves to a title or a physical characteristic. We were born with no preconceived notions about ethnicity, religion, or socioeconomic position. We don't cling to these things or even think they define us until we are older. We divide ourselves into groups and avoid others who do not share our demographic. According to the Tao Te Ching, let go of restrictions and follow your own path in life. We must come to understand that everything we seem to be lacking in our lives, like love, happiness, and inner peace, is actually already a part of us. All we need to do is align ourselves correctly to discover it. According to Lao Tzu, in order to become free, we must peel back the layers of our skin, much like an onion. I become what I might be when I let go of what I am, he adds. All we had been waiting for began to pour into our lives abundantly once we were free, particularly from the ego and false identities. Lesson 2. Dare not to be first. According to Lao Tzu, all streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. One of the 3 pillars of Taoism, along with simplicity and compassion, is humility. In Taoism, humility is expressed as dare not be first. Taoism emphasizes that we are all a little part of the great oneness. We may picture ourselves as a group of rivers that flow into one main water stream. The rivers appear to be distinct from one another. However, they are all related to the same source. The Tao is the source in question. If we apply this comparison to our lives, we will discover that we are all part of a larger whole, and that we are all ruled by the same universal energy. Much like all of the rivers that contribute to that same pool of water, We mostly disregard this advice in the fiercely competitive rat race that we call modern life. We always want to be the first to accomplish something or go somewhere, but it is sometimes too risky or demands more time and energy than is feasible at that time since we are moving against the flow of life. Furthermore, competing and challenging others in an attempt to come in first might enrage or insult them. When this happens, people frequently respond negatively, perhaps even violently. Our internal sense of value, which is sometimes unrelated to the actual value of our goals, is the result of our difficulties and efforts towards achieving them. Because of this, we get overly fixated on titles and labels, social standing, money, etc. And when we succeed, it inevitably inflates our egos to the point that we start to despise others who are not as good as us. The fact is that none of us are truly self-made, regardless of how hard we strive and succeed. Ask yourself, how much of your life have you earned? First, parents are essential to our lives. As newborns, they take care of us, feed us, and keep us safe. Did you earn it? Not at all. Then, throughout your early years, you had parents who took care of your clothes and fed you, teachers who helped you learn how to read and write, and a community that offered amusement, food, and clothing. You were dependent on your parents as an adolescent to take care of your food, laundry, transportation to school, and other needs. How much of your adult life have you earned now? According to Lao Tzu, nothing. As a result, your life is a gift from everyone but you. The kindness and empathy of others have brought you to this point in your life. Therefore, you have no right to have an ego since you cannot look at someone who is less fortunate and believe that they earned their position while you earned your better one. None of us ought to be here. The only real way to interact with the world and other people is to be humble, or to not want to be at the forefront of anything. It's not a weakness. It is not a means of achieving your goals. It's reality. There are several approaches to cultivating humility. One of them might be going for a stroll in the evening while contemplating everyone in your immediate vicinity, including your family, friends, relatives, neighbors, co-workers, and so forth. Consider them now without their titles or their financial success. Think about the problems they could be having. Some can be struggling financially. Some might be battling with addictions, and yet others might have a difficult marriage. Consider how you may support them without expecting anything in return. When you start to consider yourself a part of other people's lives, their issues will start to affect you as well. Conversely, though, their pleasures will also become your joys. Lesson 3. Let go of your desire to rush things. As Lao Tzu once said, "He who rushes ahead doesn't go far." Everybody has had those times when they are in the zone, when everything they do happens almost unconsciously and flows naturally, almost like a practiced dance. The paradox of effortlessly being in harmony is called Wu Wei in Taoism. Wu Wei, which translates to effortless action or non-doing, is more about coordinating our movements with life's larger flow than it is about doing nothing. That's what it means to be in the zone, completely engaged in what we are doing, deeply focused and flowing, without exerting excessive effort or hardship. When we are in the zone, the world around us seems to slow down, and it is as if we become one with the exact thing we are attempting to perform. Consider the act of trying to fall asleep as an example. Even with the greatest of intentions, it is difficult to push ourselves to relax the more we try. It is far more beneficial to just let go. It is ineffective and harmful to try to will oneself unconscious by thinking about falling asleep, or to stare at the clock and calculate how many hours of sleep you can still get. All we have to do is watch our thoughts come and go, allowing ourselves to relax and surrender as we gently slip into a stupor. Things get done quickly, effectively, and without requiring extra effort if we pay attention to our bodies and follow their lead. If we disagree with them, it will take more time and effort to complete tasks, and sometimes, no matter how hard we try, nothing will get done. There are several methods to practice Wu Wei, but letting go of the urge to move quickly is one of the best approaches. We have a sudden and overwhelming need for anything every time. If you want to start a new business and achieve financial independence, you need those clients now. Our busy brains are fueled by an impatient energy that keeps us from being in the present. Despite your efforts, success is not going to knock on your door overnight. There is always a required procedure that has to be focused on and cannot be hurried. It is your responsibility to let go of those urges and allow the Tao to work if you wish to achieve. This unavoidable flow of events affects all parts of our lives, not just our career ambitions and goals. There are always going to be a number of stages you need to follow in order to improve any talent. There are no quick cuts to the most valuable things. Naturally, this does not imply that you will suddenly find yourself in possession of everything. On the other hand, taking action alone is not sufficient to accomplish anything. You must acknowledge the natural order of things in addition to your acts. Nothing can occur sooner or later than it ought to. Lesson 4. Embrace change. According to Lao Tzu, new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. Water moves towards its objective with the greatest ease, overcoming everything that stands in its path. This is one of its many wonderful qualities. Water has the ability to change into steam or ice, adding to its versatility in a variety of uses. It can also bend in any direction. According to Lao Tzu, just as water, humans can also be in harmony with the natural flow of the Tao, the way of the universe. According to Lao Tzu, accepting that life entails ongoing change is one of the keys to living in harmony with Tao. Life is like a book. It has many chapters, each of which offers us a unique set of experiences and lessons. Unfortunately, inertia also governs our lives. It causes us to become fixated on the past and find it exceedingly difficult to move on to the present. It's true that humans are creatures of habit, intolerant of instability and change. Rather than viewing change as a good thing, we often react to it with fear and dislike. However, in order to change into who we could become, as Lao Tzu once stated, we must let go of who we were. If you've lived in the same country for your entire life and one day you get a job offer that could improve your professional success, but also involves moving abroad, it's reasonable for you to be hesitant about taking this opportunity. You will want to stay in the cozy comfort of your own country, hanging out with your old friends and acquaintances, visiting your old places and experiencing your old hobbies. You will want to stay in the cozy comforts of your own country. Or, in the event of a breakup with your spouse, you may go through a time of intense loss and grief that is really difficult to get over. It might be challenging for you to start looking for a new relationship, or even just to leave the house and go out with your friends. Long-term vision is sometimes hindered by this behavioral inclination. We are unable to recognize the potential that lies ahead of us, all because of a kind of emotional blindness that prevents us from moving on to the next chapter. We can only unlock the potential for progress by releasing ourselves from the constraints of our existing situation. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more positive videos that could change your flow of life. Lesson 5. Be content with little. Lao Tzu teaches us to be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are. The world is yours when you recognize there is nothing missing. Lao Tzu was fascinated by a wide range of topics, but the most significant one to him was the feeling of inner peace and harmony. He believes that when we focus on the many worldly items and earthly goods that we believe we lack, we will never be able to achieve this. In light of the current day, when social media and celebrity rumors are highly prevalent, Lao Tzu's advice on this subject is more relevant than ever. People in this day and age spend their entire lives reading through their sensationalized social media feeds on their phones. Everybody has come across a friend's photo who just so happens to be returning from a laid-back Hawaiian vacation, or who is attending a huge party and is having the time of their lives. As for us, we're simply laying on our beds, wishing we could go through comparable things. But what we forget is that we wouldn't be satisfied even if we succeeded in obtaining all we knew we wanted. Our innate desire for what we lack is what drives our constant and unending desire. You would be mistaken if you believed that receiving $1 million would instantly bring you to a state of complete contentment. As soon as your desire is satisfied, a plethora of other desires will start to emerge in your unfulfilled mind. You'll want 10 after you have $1 million. You'll want $50 million once you have 10 million, and so on. This cycle of want can never cease, robbing us of the sense of fulfillment we so well deserve. Therefore, we must be content with what we have and let go of our desire for things that we do not have. Lao Tzu counsels us to restrain desires and let go of selfishness. Let go of your need and want for such things and concentrate on what you already have, rather than wasting so much time and energy wishing you could afford your friend's fancy car. Pay attention to the things that you most likely underestimate and take for granted. Consider the following. You are probably well fed, have access to almost everything you want on the internet, have a place to live, are in generally excellent health, and many other things while you watch this video. We have an innate tendency to ignore the things we currently have and concentrate only on the things we wish we could have. For example, you meet the life partner of your dreams, but after you're together, you start to take them for granted. This disposition is natural. It is almost an inevitable aspect of being human. However, it is something that we can overcome if we use the correct concepts. As previously said, we must acknowledge that we already possess all that we seem to be lacking from our lives. Love, happiness, and inner peace, for example. We simply need to align ourselves in the proper way, and being satisfied with and appreciative of what we have around us is one way we can align ourselves. Lesson 6. Accept your flaws. The last words from Lao Tzu that we will use in this video are, when you accept yourself, the whole world accepts you. The need to accept ourselves as we are and let go of the desire to fight against our own nature is one of the core principles of Taoism. Taoism holds that as we begin to treat ourselves with more understanding and acceptance, that is, when we learn to accept our imperfections, be tolerant of them, and generally be nicer to ourselves, the rest of the universe will follow suit. They will also begin to treat us more kindly. The world will embrace us more fully the more self-acceptance we have. Frequently, our need for validation from others plays a role in contributing to our obsession with our shortcomings and intense concentration on them. Sometimes we despise some aspects of ourselves so much that they distort our perception of the world because we believe that if we are not flawless and if we do not have everything in order, other people will not like us. And even though we may have thousands of good traits, this can still occur. There is imperfection everywhere. It is who we are at our core. And persuading yourself that we would be happier if we could simply repair them is not a route you want to take. For instance, if you believe that you are overweight, you can choose to let go of the urge for control, stop hating your imperfections, and embrace yourself for who you are, rather than attaching your self-worth to your weight. Make the decision to accept and appreciate the flaws in yourself that really annoy you. If you begin to embrace your weight and learn to live with it, you will become more confident and compassionate towards yourself. Additionally, people will see you more favorably now that you're displaying yourself with greater assurance and happiness, and they will usually ignore your excess weight. So don't make a frantic effort to alter who you are. Let go of the need to stop resisting and take ownership of your life. You may certainly join a fitness center and pay attention to what you eat, but you shouldn't worry about the outcome or do it to please other people or to look good. It ought to be due to the additional advantages of physical activity, such as improved mood. Our brains are designed to find solutions to issues, so if you decide to solve a behavioral issue or a physical characteristic that you believe is problematic, you will only put more pressure on yourself and generate negative energy that will affect other people. That is a formula for disaster since it merely accentuates your bad traits while making you repress your favorable ones even more. Your inner conflict will come to the surface anytime you attempt to deny the truth that you are not as wealthy or slender as someone else. Therefore, it is essential that we pay attention to everything. Consequently, fully embrace who you are and relish the effortless flow of your life. Remember, do not distinguish between negative and positive. Before we end our journey through the flow of life, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude for joining us on this journey. We value your time and involvement very much. If these ancient philosophical ideas were helpful to you, please consider posting a comment to discuss your ideas and personal experiences. We value your opinions, and if you found this content interesting, a simple like will help us and let us know that you want to see more of it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel so that you may receive updates on new videos that will provide you with additional knowledge, philosophy, and personal development ideas. If you have watched until the end, please respond with Master Motivational Mindset so we can connect.